In this video, I'm going to show you how to submit data under the Other KPIs survey on the Corporate Knights data portal. So the first step is to navigate to corporateknightsdata.com. Once you navigate to corporateknightsdata.com, you're going to be prompted to enter your login information. If you do not have an account yet set up on the Corporate Knights data portal, you need to contact your company administrator to create a user account. If you do not know who your company administrator is, or if your company is not yet registered on the portal, you can click this hyperlink on the sign-in page, which will take you to a sign-up form. So I've just entered in my login information, my email and my password, and I'm going to click login. This takes me to the homepage of the Corporate Knights data portal. On the homepage, you're going to find the most relevant information for the upcoming rankings, in this case, which is the 2026 Global 100. And on the homepage, you are also going to have links to a data guide for navigating the hub, as well as a link to videos, such as this demo video, which I am filming right now. So you will notice on the homepage that you have 5 main tabs. It's the home, company, data points, users, and help and support. In this case, we are going to be going to the data points tab. Once you click on the data points tab, you're going to notice that you have a survey selection window right here. And the survey that we are going to be discussing today is the Other Data Points survey. So I'm going to click on the Other Data Points survey and scroll down on the page. So what you see here is once I select the Other Data Points survey, this box right here will update with all of the other data points that are not going to be listed on the Sustainable Economy survey, which is covered in another video. So the way that this is laid out is on the left-hand side of this data entry box, you have the list of the KPI data points. On the right-hand side, you have the rating years from 2019 to 2024. Rating years are defined further down on the page, right here, where it says how a CK rating year is determined. For the 2024 rating year, it's any company fiscal year that ended on or after July 1st, 2024, and on or before June 30th, 2025. So if I'm submitting data for my 2024 fiscal year end, which was December 31st, I would be submitting it in the 2024 rating year column. So in this window here, you're going to notice that you have a number of sections where you can submit data. The first being economic data, the second being social data, and the third section being the sustainability pay link data. For some indicators, there are going to be multiple years that we are looking for data for. So gross revenue is an example. We track from 2019 to 2024. In others, such as fines and sanctions, or the total number of permanent and temporary employees, we are only looking for the current year of data. So in this case, we would only ask you to disclose the 2024 rating year. Before we get into the actual data entry, I will just highlight what else you will find on the page. So just below the data entry box, there is a download data button. If you hover above it, it's going to give you the description of what the button will do. So this will in fact download a CSV file for all of the displayed information for your records. So if you want to download all of your company data and view it in a CSV file, you can click this, which I will do right now. And you can see here that it has downloaded a CSV for all of the KPIs for the company that I am a registered user for. There's also a data point definition button. So if you want full definitions for the data points that we track, you can click this button right here, and it also will download a KPI data point list that gives you the data points by category with full definitions. Alternatively, you can find the descriptions for the individual data points that we are looking for by hovering your mouse over these little question mark bubbles that is under each of the data point fields. So for gross revenue, for example, the definition is the corporation's gross revenue is the revenue before any item of expense, not net revenue. So every single data point that we have will have a corresponding question mark bubble with a description for the data point that we are collecting. There are also two other buttons on the right-hand side of the data submission window. One is for saving your work as you go. The other is for submitting all changes, so all data that has been entered to Corporate Knights for their review. You go to click submit right now. You are going to get a notification that you are submitting all values to Corporate Knights. And you want to make sure that you are entirely finished with your submission before you press this. If you are going to be submitting some data and coming back later and submitting more data, you could just press the save button and it will save the work to date. So if I entered a data point in this field right here, and I was going to come enter capital expenditures tomorrow, I would just enter the gross revenue figure, press save, and then I can exit the survey. If I scroll further down on the page, the last couple of things to cover are the legend. So as you can see here, we have color-coded the data cells to give an indication of who the data was provided by. So in cases where you see gray, as you do in most of the cells that are currently visible, there is no data, and we are asking the company to supply it wherever possible. In the cases where you're seeing green cells, this is where the data has been provided by the company. And if you're seeing purple cells, this is where the data is provided by Corporate Knights. Lastly, we do have a detailed history log further down on the page here, which you can see includes details for all data logging. So any data that's been entered, deleted, modified, either by Corporate Knights or by a company user will be tracked here. So you can see, for example, it includes both the sustainable economy and the other data points on this history log. So it will indicate what the data point is, what the rating year was for the data point that was changed, what the change was. Was it an update? Was it a change? Was it a deletion? So in this case, this first log that you see here, the data point was changed from a value to a non-value by myself on the CK Test Company page. So it looks like it was a deletion, and it gives you the date and the time of the change. So if you're ever curious as to why there has been a change and who you should ask about the change, whether it was somebody within your own company or whether it was somebody at Corporate Knights, all you need to do is identify where in the history log the change occurred, and you will find out who the user was that made the change. So now on to the actual data entry itself. If I wanted to enter data in the other data point survey, I would come select the survey, and then in the data entry field, what I need to do is click into the actual data entry cell. So let's say I'm entering a gross revenue figure. I'm going to click this cell, and you're going to notice that this pops out a reference info box where you have the ability to enter the reference, the source, the value, the notes, and you can view any notes that Corporate Knights has provided under the supplemental notes section. So in this case, I am going to enter a value of 1 billion. Reference, I will say, is my 2024 annual report. Put your source in. And what we would ask is that you provide detailed notes on this. So you could say, okay, this was sourced from annual report page 110, income statement. So we ask that detailed notes are provided for the data that is entered in the portal, so that we can clearly understand when we are coming through and vetting the submissions, how the value was arrived at. So if you're pulling financial data, if you could provide us with the page number that you're pulling the financial data from, that would be great. But you will notice here that I have filled out the value, the reference, the source, and the notes. And once that is complete, I can click OK. And because I am registered as a company user in this test case, you will notice that the cell has turned green. So if I click out of the cell now, You're also going to notice under the Save button that there is an indication that this data was saved. So there is an autosave function on the portal, and this is where you'll have a clear indication that your data is being saved as you go ahead and work. But just to be safe, I can also come and click Save right now, and I will get a pop-up that is indicating the changes have been saved. As far as the other data point section goes, it's relatively straightforward. The vast majority of the data fields are going to be similar to the gross revenue field that I just entered. The one exception that I will highlight here is the first sustainability pay link question, where the question is your company's CEO rewarded monetarily for the achievement of sustainability related performance targets? And it's a drop-down selection. It's either a yes or a no. If it's a no, you will select that. If it's a yes, you will select yes. And that should provide you with all of the information that you need to submit data under the other data points survey. If you do have any questions while you are engaging with this survey, please reach out to research@corporateknights.com. We would be happy to answer any questions that you have via email or to hop on a brief call with you. Thanks.